So this one's gonna be a little bit advanced, but I need to do a little project real quick for my analysis. And we'll be analyzing some data sheets that I had to pull out from online sources, from the SEC to Kaggle. I was looking and kind of hunting down for some data sets that I can use, but here's what I'm looking for. And it has to do with a type of cyclical nature of the market. As I do trading, I analyze data. I take information from multiple locations, and depending on the data that I'm looking for, I'll basically organize the list. I have specific Python files that I've used in the past, but I'm going to try and make a more versatile, dynamic script today that I can essentially use to analyze data sets. Okay. And what I'm looking for is actually really based on the um, Genius Group lawsuit. Not just this one, but it seems to be that when there is a movement towards the public being essentially pissed off at sketchy market movement, sketchy market maker activity. One of those is something called a naked share, essentially taking a these are going to be terms not in programming specifically because now we're dealing with market terminology. But you're taking a market share that doesn't exist and you sell it against the market, you're essentially going to push the price in a specific direction without the actual existence of the share. And for the case of borrowing or having these non-existing shares, you're doing something called naked shorting or selling something you don't have, basically. It's like going online and you're on eBay and you want to sell a bunch of Pokemon cards and you're looking to make a quick buck and you're a scammer. So what you do is you go online, find how much this Pikachu card costs. It costs a very rare card. It costs $100, sure. And what you would do, maybe $1,000, maybe even more, right? Let's say 1,000. What you would do is you'd make 100 different listings for that same card being sold on eBay. So it used to be just one person selling that card, and now you've created 100 different listings that sell that card. And you're selling it for maybe 900 or 800 or 700, right? And people are buying it up because it's such a popular thing. People are all making orders left and right to buy it from you. Now, you don't have that card. You're just putting up a listing, okay? And when the time comes that you have to deliver that card, you won't be able to because you need 100 different or 100 cards of that same card. So what would happen is you would kind of like go to the government and say, "Hey, I don't have this card to sell to people," and then they'd put you under this fail to deliver list, basically saying that you did not have the thing in which you were trying to sell. As simple as I can put it, those are the factors playing in the real market, in the actual legit market. Like, in a way, it's almost very schemy, right? To sell something you don't own. So, there are cases where this company has launched illegal trading uh, action against a lot of different individuals that have potentially been doing this, have been selling shares that they actually don't own, causing the price to go down. So there's a huge lawsuit, and this is very similar to what happened if you know, if you're a trader, it happened with GME, AMC back in 2020. So I'm playing with data. I'm playing with data to analyze and see not just GNS, but as you can kind of tell, I've got a full list of about 56,707 56,771 minus one, 50, because the top is the header. So 56,770 companies to go through. This is where programming is a must. Now I have another list to go to match to it. This one might not be done today because there's going to be some sort of processing that I have to do and where I have to match ticker symbols between the two sides. So like these two here, right? ZVSA and ZVSA. I'd have to make a whole algorithm for the Python to match tickers and combine data sets and essentially analyze the pieces between two lists. So I'm particularly focused on analyzing this list, which is the failed to deliver list of 55,000 companies. And I'm looking for super large values. 309, no, 30,000 is not bad. There was another one that like 500,000 and 5 million. And basically, I need an easier way to go through this list to look at potentially which ones are the highest ones. Which companies should I actually look out for potential short squeezes, right? That's the goal. The goal is the set. So let me actually put some music on while we do this, but it's gonna be, I mean, it's gonna be a wild ride. It's gonna be a wild ride. We're gonna go through some details here. I'm gonna be coding for a bunch here. I'll be looking in chat and seeing if anyone wants to chat, say hello, ask questions, work on the project with me. Otherwise, we're gonna be listening to music, chilling out, and we're on a mission. What's up with this window? Why is it see-through? Hello. Video? Oh, because there's no video. Got it. I suppose. Okay. So first thing is I need to make a home base for this project. So let's go to my handy dandy home folder, code folder. Where did I put that sucker? There it is. Put it under tools. Do I want to put it here? What did I put it here? Let me see. YouTube subs. I don't know if I want to put it in this folder. But hey, it's a tool, so. Analysis. So the first thing I'll need to do is copy these folders here and just basically do data na or and.py. Create my Python file. I need to grab these data sets. This num.txt didn't really do much for me. Let me see the pre. Oh gosh. So one of the big things about using, I forget about this, using VS Code to open up large data files is basically not having your notepad crash on you. Notepad likes to open the whole file at once, which if you have thousands of lines of data, not going to work out well. So the best case is to have a VS Code open, and that'll actually help out with large data sets. Let's see what the pre holds. ADS report statement. Let's see. Panel negating. See, that's not that's not important to me at the moment. These values up here. So pre's fine. What about sub? SIG country name. Okay, so that's an ID, location. So this is kind of company information. Zip, country. It's specific to the company. They don't have any shares. What I wanted to do between the two was grab however many failed to delivers existed, put them across or divide them or mathematically compare them to how many are traded in a day. This probably is not going to have anything for me either. No, nothing. And then get an idea of the days to deliver based on how many are naked shorted to how many exist on the market. These are just some. Ooh, look at that one. That one's, where'd it go? 749,000. New gen group. Let me see Genius, right? Genius Sports, Genius Group. 18,000 is not much. But I want to also analyze multiple problems or multiple files. So not only am I going to analyze this one, I'm going to build it for this file, but I want to expand that and look at multiple files because sometimes data does indeed change. And having to track all the different files is where things get chaotic. So I'm gonna need my data CSV, throw it in my analysis folder. I'm gonna need not the number. Where'd I put this one? CN fails. Right here. Throw it in here. Alright. So it's really the CN fails that I want to analyze first. I want to make a program that'll analyze, organize, sort these, whatever I basically need to do as far as data sets go. So a lot of basic mathematical constructs, right? So first thing is basically creating a menu. Simple enough. So I need to basically import some files, have them loaded onto the program, potentially export them into a more notable way. But the first thing, because I can kind of go with the import of the file, this is just the pseudocode blueprinting at the beginning here. But might as well make a type of menu. So I'm gonna go down here, print. Import file. We're gonna put this as option 1. Hold on. Where's my shortcut? Oh, we go. Import file. Sort file. Because this would be maybe by specific column value. So that'll be interesting. Merge files. Even might want to list the files I've currently imported. And maybe in this case I'll put quit or exit. Simple for now, up to adjustment. So, okay, while, and then we have to make a input from the user. What do you want to do? Then user in is going to equal to, well, technically, the input. So while user in does not equal to Q, I might want to lower that, but that's fine for now. And we're gonna basically have our loop here. But then again, that's the first entry, so there's a bit of a caveat here. The first entry just prints it out, and then we're gonna want to continuously print it out at the end of this while loop, because we want to update each while loop scenario. We want to update the user's choice. So this one doesn't do anything so far other than create a menu. There it is. What do you want to do? 1. What do you want to do? 2. What do you want to do? 3. What do you want to do? Q. And then it exits. That's how you make a simple menu, right? It's basically printouts. And now it's the case where we're testing for specific options. What do we want the actual situations to do? So if user in equals to 1, I think it goes in as a string, but we're gonna have to, I think it is a string, so I'm gonna put 1. And now we gotta import the file, which to speed things up, I'm just gonna use a grok to basically give me some direct movements here. Don't have to waste time. So this is where I actually was finding some of the data. The sec data didn't really work too well. Haggle was the one I had, and I might still need to search for more data, but I got some files that I can start with. So in Python, um, import a text file, and I have to basically I'll have to basically import different types of files. So I'm gonna have to also do this for a CSV file, organize that, everything that's basically every format that it comes in. But let's do a text file with custom delimiter. No, actually, we'll do it this way for now. In Python, import a text file one line at a time as a string. I don't need to use 4 though. I'll just use 3 for the next one. The strip, there we go. So I need kind of the strip. Okay, so if I'm opening or importing a file, the first thing I need to do is take the file name, input, file name, or file directory, file location, file freaking URL, file. Let's do the file because basically I want to basically put it next to each other. So I'm just gonna say file name. I can make this a bit more advanced and actually pick the file up from anywhere on the system, but at this point I'll probably just drag and drop the file in the same directory. And then align strip leading trailing white space. I might need that, yeah, the strip part. For line, okay, good. I need that right there for line in a particular set. So with open of the, but I'm still waking up, so expect plenty uh, of errors. Not that. File name and the read mode as file. For line, so that's how we open the file in memory. Then for line in file, we go through each line. Then I'm probably gonna want some array to hold the data. Probably will do it in a multi-dimensional array. But, I mean, why not just do it in the case scenario now? So just a simple data array equals to blank. I will want to create file data and then append file data to data array. For each line, then I'm going to file data dot append line, and then when it goes through it, this is gonna do a pretty hefty case scenario. It's gonna do every single line, which is 50,000 lines, which makes me want to kind of make a smaller sample file, which I probably will. So let's just get like this many. Sample file.txt, because I don't want to basically go through full data, right? Let me also save this as a txt, because they don't name their files on the government website. sample file txt has 22 values just as a sample set because I don't really want to go through every little file. Now this will take each line, basically append it to the array. When this is done, I want to verify. In fact, I'll probably verify, yeah, I'll verify here. I'll print out file data, and then I'll also data array dot append the file data, and then make sure it carries out of the scope and prints again data array. So import file, not there, import file, file name, sample file.txt, no such file directory. Okay, so that's a problem of location. And currently we're running from tools. I need to go into analysis, so I have to do it again. This time, import file, but this time the full directory would be /analysis, or I guess, yeah, analysis, capital specific, sample file.txt. Can't find the file, no such file or directory. How about just analysis? Aha! Okay, now I did it. Alright. So I didn't need that leading slash. Alright, good. So there it is. The first set of data organized in one array, and then the double array for the double set of the full data array. So this one here is just the data, the file data in the simple array, and then these two brackets here show me that I'm saving file, that data in the previous, which is good. So far so good, but we do have to organize these. The problem is the data file is separated by up and down vertical lines, which can be adjusted. So we can split by delimiter in a string. Split method, then put the, okay, because it's split in many cases. So append line, then we'll do a line, we'll do dot strip. Now I want to make sure the appended values are still organized. So it would be actually more like a three-dimensional array. We have the main data array on the outside, then we have the file array on the inside, then we have to have the types of cells in their own line-by-line array. So 0, thinking about this, so we're going to basically have data array, and then inside of that, this is just pseudocode, file data, and then line data. So like we'll have a 0 for the first, 0 for the second, and then 0 for the third for the first line of data, which would be in this case the header, talking about what the values are aligned as: settlement date, symbol, quantity, description, so on. And then when we change line data to 1, we go to the next value, which is actual data sets we want to go through. So 0 is always going to be the header, which makes perfect sense. So that means I have to basically put this in its own array, like so, potentially. Otherwise, it's going to split the string into an array. Hold on. Let me just do this for now. Dot split, and see how it pops up to be vertical. So let's quit to restart the program, rerun it. We'll do 1, then analyze the file again. Okay, strip not finding function, built-in function, split. Oh, strip. Hold on, strip has to have its own. I'm not piping this correctly. One. No. Why is this one back? No slash. There we go. Oh, okay. It's actually, I think, doing it fine. So there's the first set. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, it's doing it fine. So we have the outside array, which is the data array. Then we have the file array. And inside of the file array, looks like we got 0 for the main header, 1 for the next set of data on the list, 2. Okay, so I don't have to do extra brackets there. That'll make it more difficult. But it is a basically a three-dimensional array. You can tell by how many brackets we're using here to open up the very first valuations. So that means I can essentially import multiple files into this single array. So for now, outside of optimizing the array itself to hold tons of data, because like that data CSV was okay, 3 megabytes. The one thing was this file that's not useful to me was actually 400 megabytes. It's 500 megabytes. It's a lot of data. But there wasn't much info in there for me. At least not that I could find. I might have to analyze it further. There might be some lines in there that would be useful, but as far as overall stock data, it didn't really help me much. Okay. So I can continue the process. All right. So one, I'm importing files. I'm attaching them to my data array. I don't need to see the data pieces anymore. But there would be a nicer case scenario here. We don't have the file name actually being used to organize the data itself. It's just kind of arbitrary data sets that are being pushed. So what I can do, thinking about the order in which I need to make this key value pair happen, the file data is empty, but oh, wait a minute. Oh, file data, file name. So potentially, yeah. I can just do this dot, then I can do file name should basically turn this into a different data set, a key value. So the key of the file name is going to hold the file data that it represents. Okay, so that should be the simplest way in Python. Must be... right, because it's not... Okay, so then I need to make this. I need to make it an actual key value pair from the start. So the data types do stick. So if I would use a regular index-based array, I wouldn't be able to force it to change to a key value pair later. But what I needed to do was just kind of initialize it as an actual key value pair from the beginning. Then it should be fine. Hmm. Key error analysis, sample file. So it doesn't exist technically. How do we make append new key value pair to dictionary? Oh, wait a minute. Is that just an equals? Oh, there's no append. Duh. Duh. Okay, so I just take append, put it equal. All right. It depends on language, man. I think PHP was the way I was writing it in that case. Okay, cool. Good. All right, so now Hmm. File name, that's the initial. That's this print here, which we don't need anymore. And then the actual case scenario. Okay, good. Now we're saving the name to the data that it holds. Good. So now I can at least check if file name exists. Don't import it twice. All the typical case scenario. What's up? What I am doing is I'm analyzing some data from market makers, looking at this 50,000 line set of data for stocks, right? And I'm looking at this specifically because it's the fail to deliver. This is the shares that were not delivered to the people that were buying them. And I want to analyze this, sort it, organize it, and basically do some data analysis on this, which is going to help me kind of identify some stock to buy in potential short squeeze situations. So the first case scenario, I'm just basically making a application. That's fair. Oh, update. Oh, yeah, yeah. Fair point. Fair point. We can use update. If it already exists, right? So if that particular key value pair exists, yeah. We can use update. So I mean, a case scenario if I do, but right now we're kind of just temporarily saving this to memory. So everything we have here so far is basically just attaching it to the variable data array. And until I quit the application using exit, then it goes away. It's a bit. It's a bit. It's a step-by-step process, but that's the thing, like, even though something can look so, I mean, this is the thing too. A lot of files, right? 50,000 files. I mean files, lines. But once you do it for like 10 of them, because I've made a small little sample here just so I don't have to parse 50,000 lines over and over. And if I can do it to 10 lines, I can do it to 50,000. If I can do it to 50,000, I can do it to a million. Like it doesn't, once you have the pattern in the way that something's structured, that work is really just done by the computer. And here it is, it's just a while loop, right? So in this case here, reading it, the sorting is going to be a little bit trickier, but that's for the next steps. Okay, so I have that data set. But I'm using AI to basically speed stuff for me because, you know, I can't do it by hand, but it's going to be a lot of debugging and it's not going to be as fun. It's going to be a lot of basically, why aren't you working? Where'd I carry this one? And just a bunch of headaches. So it's not. I love AI. I love AI for the case that you use it as a tool to assist, not as a crutch to lean on. That's the important part. All right. So we got the menu. We've got our import set. We don't need to print that because we have verified our file save key now. Oop, hold on. No. 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 There we go. Output. No. What? Go back. Why are so many options in here? Go back. Oh, God. All right, well. Oh, there we go. Our file is saved next to the data set and the uh, key value pair. We can import multiple files. So let's do that again. Let me actually take let me take this file here. This file is different. This one's a CSV. How's it going, Heisenberg? Welcome in. We got a good amount of people, and what's going on, guys? Welcome in. Welcome to the Coding Good. I am taking data sets. I'm gonna have to repeat myself multiple times, because you know, yeah, someone else asked earlier. I'm taking data sets from the SEC as far as fail to delivers. I mean, it kind of should say it in the title, right? I'm taking data sets from fail to delivers that are uh, used on like metrics for stock markets, right? So how much data here, the SEC here, take the data, organize it in my Python, and then parse it for some information that I might need to look at if I want to make some choices with stock trading. In this case, I'm specifically wanting, I'm getting suspicious of the market. It's reminding me back to 2020, back with GME and AMC. I'm hearing a lot of corporations trying to fight back naked shorting or using shares that don't exist to sell into the market and then never be able to deliver those shares because they didn't own it. So because of that suspicion, I got some data sets from Grok and other sources, and I'm going to analyze them for any particular huge valuation. So really what I'm looking for is this small little space here. I want to find out an organized set of data here based on the highest quantity of fails, which is the fail to deliver. And I want to see which one of those particular stocks have it. But it's kind of like blind if you do it that way, because you need to take how many fails there are and then pit them against how many shares exist on the market itself. And then that's the like more advanced set. That's when I want to merge. That's a little bit further down in the code, uh, where I'm looking at the option 3 for merging, right? So I want to merge multiple files, attach it based on some similarities, like in this case would be the ticker symbol. And when I attach them, they're gonna basically, based on the programming, whatever, I should have multiple options. And right now, it's very simplistic. I want it to be a versatile little mini program for organizing data files or data sheets. And the next step is actually importing the CSV. The next step is importing the CSV. So I guess the easiest way to do this, let me see something. We don't have a delimiter. So let's do this. File delim equals to input. Let's make a custom delimiter. Delimiter in data. And then I'm just gonna use this so I can basically customize whatever the delimiter is, because this one's a comma. It should be, because it's a CSV, so CSVs are always delimited by commas. And this one's a up and down vertical line, so this at least can give me the choice to choose between the options. So number one, back to the text file. Delimiter is the up and down. Good. So now, if I take sample file 2, which is going to be this data set, again, not going to take the full file, even though it's a little bit less. It's like 10,000 lines of, yeah, about 9,000. I'm going to make a new file here. Call that sample file 2 dot. Let's do a dot .scv. Just so I can verify that I don't need to modify my import type. So 1. So sample file. Did I do a capital on that? I did. Oh. Wow. Actually, I didn't even take capital the lack of capital in my naming, because there's a mix-up. This F in my file all is lowercase, but the actual file is uppercase. So I'm kind of mind blown. Yeah, I mean, that is the case too. You can store it in a database. I mean, that would be like when I merge and export. Right now, it's just using memory. So the biggest kind of trade-off here is the RAM on my computer storing this data. But I mean, a text file doesn't have a lot of RAM, and I've got 32 gigs to spare. But if I wanted to optimize it, yeah, I would basically create like a MongoDB on the side, upload it to that. But then I would be relying on the database's speed and optimization. So as long as the file doesn't take up more than 32 gigs of memory, I think I'll be all right. Right? Like that would be a lot of data that I would have to parse. I mean, if I'm doing multiple files and I upload multiple files, like 5 or 6 files worth of a gig or something, then potentially we're looking at some huge bottlenecks for parsing the data. But I would say, based on my IT knowledge on RAM versus like using a Mango database on a hard drive, even though my hard drive is a M.2, so basically solid state, the travel time between on the circuit, really, the travel time between the hard drive to the RAM would be just extra time that would take if I stored it in a database. Uh, So potentially, as long as everything is not so crazy extreme, I would be able to basically just use it through RAM and end of story. But yeah, no, you're right. If I do expand on this and then have all, because I have a list file. I didn't do anything with list yet. Sort file. Maybe if I have an extra option here, right? What if I do, then we'll go for that. 5. Well, because think of it too. When we do import the data, yeah, true, the swap. Even in the swap, because the database will pluck information that's necessary, so it'll have its own algorithms to sort the data. That's why you have like Amazon have proprietary systems that they don't give out because they sort their data a specific way that's faster to parse through. But if you do something simple like a MongoDB or a MySQL DB, then you're still relying on that data being saved on the hard drive. So now you're looking at every time you import the database or go through the database, you're still taking database entries, putting them in RAM. So you're kind of still doing that. It's just for the case of like the initial import. Hey, cool, man. Yes, very cool. Hey, give a like, man. If you haven't already, like and subscribe. But yeah, no, we do this often. I just had like this last night. You ever had that moment where you're just sleeping and you're like, wait, I found this file. And I'm hearing all this stuff about naked shorts. I'm just like, oh, hold on. I can make a program, but I'm so tired right now. So I'm like, I'm just gonna record myself do it tomorrow morning. So here I am on the case scenario. Hold on, let me see what's going on here. Oh yeah, I have to update some student info. I'll do that later. Okay. But yes, welcome. Like and subscribe if you like this content. I do a lot of stuff, programming, mathematics, computer science stuff, technically, and also artificial intelligence. I have my built-in AI. Right now I'm just using Grok to kind of speed me up. In fact, it's a good point because if you have a built-in AI, so I have Olama, and I'm gonna do Code Llama. Hold on, please don't upload. No. We have a list already. What is it? Code Llama 13B. If you have this one's gonna be 7.4 gigs RAM video. That should be enough. If you have a built-in AI, you can ask it for specific types of code, and it'll probably answer you pretty well on that. But if you kind of give, or if you need, I guess Grok would be good for arbitrary. Like, oh, I want to make a snake game, right? You're not asking for any specific functions or specific things. You're just saying, I want to build a snake game. Grok will do it for you, no problem. But if all you need is like some little details, like in this case, what would be the best way to sort this? Hold on, let me catch myself up. So export to DB, sort file would be the next case. Not yet. I haven't done this part yet. So I'm gonna get the sample file 2. Now the delimiter is a comma. Good. Essentially, very good. I mean, it's still more data in the second one. So let me see. There's the first file we imported. I'm not printing this very effectively. Okay, I'm seeing the kind of extra data from the second file. I just want to find the actual header here. Performance half year. Okay, there's the header. Profit margin, dividend, sales, Okay, good. Yeah, sample file 2. Okay, it is absolutely organizing everything perfectly. Very cool. So then this key value is holding the value of the actual file, and then this key value is holding the first set of data up to here. Good. So at least I have them set in there. So if I wanted to organize them, no, let's do the list first. Let's do the list. So we're gonna do a if user n equals to 4. So let me make an actual list of the currently loaded files. Okay, in this case, I'll use my little code llama. In Python, list the key of the dictionary. The keys, plural. Simple enough. So there's a case where ABC list my dict keys output, etc. So I can actually save this into a list in its own and then access the data later. Very good. Okay, so all I need to do really is print uh data array. Was it dot keys? Okay, you don't have to go so far, my dude. Relax, relax. I get it. Oh my God, he's going, going. Iter keys. Oh, iterating output. My dict dot iter keys list. I just need keys. So my dictionary or the data key, data array dictionary, and then put key after. Keys, keys, plural. Data array. What do you mean? It's not defined. Data. Oh, I'm dumb. I'm not using my own structuring here. So, unfortunately, I gotta re-upload things. So I need that set of keys too, because that's going to be a common way you want to access dictionaries. Because I know in like, you know too, in regular arrays, you can always count on incrementing from 0 to the length. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's going to go through the index. If you don't know what the keys are in your data dictionary, then you won't be able to increment through it. But what you can do is extract the keys into another variable. I haven't really saved it. All I'm doing is just printing it right now. And then you save it into its own list. And then from there, which we can't technically do. I can organize this, but I'm not going to do too much on the organization. And then use that list to increment through that dictionary using the listed keys that you extracted from it. That's what you would do in order to increment through the full dictionary that you have. So we're gonna do analysis file, delimiter dios, import another, analysis file 2, delimiter comma, and then if I want to list these, why are you printing the whole thing though? Hold on, what? Oh, okay. Oh, right, it's printing it because I'm constantly printing it every time I go around the loop. Hold on, I don't need this anymore. But yeah, there it is. So dictionary keys, these are the values available. To keep it simple, I'm not going to organize it, make it look fancy. But, you know, as programmers, we like to see what the outputs are, specific types of values. So this is fine. At least I can see the current keys available. So now using this method, I can sort. This would be the tricky part. User n equals to 2, right? To a sort. Then I want to get files equals to list of data array dot key. So show me the keys I have currently. For let's say file in files, print. I can increment it too, but then I want to increment it, so enumeration would be useful. Enumerate, was it enum? Was it enum? Hold on. So I can at least list off a numerical sequence here, but what I can basically do is just list the files this way for now. But let me see. For loop in Python to enumerate array contents with hold on. Not array contents, because array would have a natural 0, 1, 2, 3. 0, 1, 2, 3. 0, 1, 2, 3. 0, 1, 2, 3. 0, 1, 2, 3. 0, 1, 2, 3. 0, 1, 2, 3. 0, 1, 2, 3. 0, 1, 2, 3. 0, 1, 2, 3. 0, 1, 2, 3. 0, 1, 2, 3. 0, 1, 2, 3. 0, 1, 2, 3. 0, 1, 2, 3. 0, 1, 2, 3. 0, 1, 2, 3. 0, 1, 2, 3. 0, 1, 2, 3. 0, 1, 2, 3. 0, 1, 2, 3. 0, 1, 2, 3. 0, 1, 2, 3. 0, 1, 2, 3. 0, 1, 2, 3. 0, 1, 2, 3. 0, 1, 2, 3. 0, 1, 2, 3. 0, 1, 2, 3. 0, 1, 2, 3. 0, 1, 2, 3. 0, 1, 2, That's fair too. Good. Thanks for that info. I love when it's updated. Yeah, and Python is super nice in the case that it's basically meant for data analysis. So for all the difficulties you would have in other languages, so you would do that in other languages. C, Java, you would get the keys, put them in a list, and then go through the key values. But in Python, they give you specific tools to basically not have to do extra work to go around these details. Good call. Good call. So that's another way to go through all the values. Actually, that might be a good case. But I want to list the files to the user so they can pick which one to sort. Then I got to figure out if I want to save those sorts or just print them. Because I might want to just keep sorting it in different ways. And maybe then have a save option at the end. You also have a dict.items that gives you a zip of both keys and values. Cool. Like a zip file or like a compressed array value. For loop in Python to enumerate, let's say dictionary values. There it is. It's just a full word. Dumb. So enumerate basically adds a value. So I would do enumerate files, if I'm even spelling that right. Enume. There we go. And not only do you go through each file, but you get an extra index after your value here that becomes your, oh no, yeah, value. Value, yeah, so I plus 1 is the, okay, so it's reverse. First it's the enumerated value, the counting value I, and then it's the file value. All right. So then I can do I plus boom, give it a space there, /n, and then we can say file choice equals input which file and they'll pick 1 2 3 or 0 1 2 3. I guess it would start at 0 in this case. So 0 1 2 3, you pick the file choice 0, then we actually have to potentially work with some functions here. Define sort data. This is just going to be a placeholder. So then we'll send the data. I can't really put a placeholder, huh? Without error. So sort data. So then we will grab the file choice from our, then we take sort data function, take our data array, and then because it is, then we have to take our brain files, and then file choice to input the file choice from the files list into the data array to grab the key and then send that key over to sorting. Like 4 key value dict items. Oh, okay. Yeah, true. You can grab both cases. If I decided to make a full loop to sort every single file for sure. What's up? Welcome in, Ishan. Sansa, thanks for the inputs. You're a good one. You're a good one. I am doing a big project here in Python. I'm taking data from the market. Let me readjust back to this. So the US stock metrics performance, different types of data from stock market exchanges, and I'm going to organize it into a bit of a analysis for myself. It's just a little project I was literally thinking about as I was falling asleep last night. And what I wanted to really do is kind of hunt down some particular case scenarios where I'm noticing a lot of illegal trading activities happening. And in the market, hey, namaste, my dude. Nice. Good to see you, my dude. I see you, man. I see you. Uh, so in here, there's some cases where, and I gave an example before. There's a naked shorting epidemic. You've got freaking market makers, they think, and this is a thing they do normally. If there's a lot of like shares being processed, they are allowed to sell something they don't own so they can basically continue the process of having liquidity. Like if you have no one selling, then they can be like, uh-oh, these people want to buy. But if there's no one selling and they want to buy, then basically the price is gonna go up because the next seller would be like, well, I don't want to sell, but I'll sell it for 3 times the price. That's kind of how you create this sort of like huge volatility, right? So someone's always willing to sell for a specific price. But at a current valuation, if there's not enough sellers, then they'll be like, all right, we'll just sell a bunch of these invisible shares to people. We'll say they have it. And then later down the road, we'll get them like a week or two later, right? So there's this thing called a naked short, a sell, where if the case scenario arises that, there's not enough shares on the market because, some CEO just hoarded 99% of the shares and someone wants to sell that particular uh, market equity, well, they're gonna say, hey, I want to sell this, but technically he owns all of them and I don't have any, so I'm gonna go to the market maker and get this naked, invisible share and sell it into the market. And this is a common case scenario where a bit of manipulation happens. If you guys keep track of market stuff, you're looking at like GME, AMC, Bed Bath and Beyond, Volkswagen back in 2008, Overstock probably around 2000s. Like every time there's a weird market like crash or something involved, you'll find that there's some stocks out there that just blow the fuck up. They go from $5 to like 1,000 for temporary situation, and then they go down. But the key scenario is the market moves so quick that that happens for that situation, that everything just kind of unwinds at an immediate moment. The key then is for me to analyze some data based on some fail to delivers. These are stocks being sold and oh, we'll pay you, we'll deliver these 2 weeks later, but they couldn't deliver them. So these are stocks that never existed, that were never delivered, that were basically sold on the market. It's like you having like an eBay and you're saying you're gonna sell 100 Pokemon cards, but you actually have one. You sell one of them, but 99 of those cards you can't deliver, right? So that's kind of the idea here. And I'm trying to analyze this data set from the SEC. And not just this one, I just want to basically make an application, a little mini data sorting system where fair enough. I know, no, I'm talking like, because it is programming that we're doing, but we're using in a specific area. We're doing it in the stock market, right? So fair, yeah, a lot of the terminology is going to be a little bit Chinese in a way, right? Not to say that, because I know India and China got some problems, man. Like China's going crazy. I swear China's trying to F everyone over, but that's a different story. But I am basically speaking market terminology. Yeah, I know. Like the excuses, oh, so we can keep the market going. So like there's a legit way to use it where maybe there's like, 50,000 shares and there's not enough sellers. So like, all right, let's just make these shares and we can, it's like credit, right? How can you borrow money from someone that's not your money, but eventually you got to return that money, right? So it's basically like the credit mentality, but on the equity side. So they're like, oh yeah, we can do this because it's eventually gonna come back, right? That's the idea. But what if you could never pay that credit back? That's like the same level in the market space. Like, here, borrow these non-existent shares and return them to me, and then we'll just zero them out. It's like they never existed. But if you can never return them, if you can never pay back your credit, what happens? So I don't know how it's legal. I don't know how they allow it. Basically, because they might own 1 million shares. Yeah, 50,000 shares is nothing. We can make them fall into place and pop out of nowhere, and then we'll make them go away real quick, and no one will notice the difference, and we kept the market going. This is kind of their excuse to can't basically like continue the flow of the market without having, in a way, it kind of makes sense without having extreme volatility. But that's a big but, and it depends on when you deliver those shares and if you can deliver those shares. It's a big headache. But this is what happened with GME, GameStop, back in 2020, AMC 2021, Volkswagen. Volkswagen was a case where the actual CEO, and I believe Germany, owned like 95 or 90% of every single stock that existed. And then they were trying to basically buy back stocks in the US, but they didn't have access to it because it was out of country and out of place and somebody else owned it. So that, like, hold on, let me show you. Let me show you. I know we're going into stocks now. I'm sorry, guys. Some of you might be super interested, some of you not so much, but Volkswagen. Wagen. If the magic trick fails, and this is why we keep bailing out our government. Okay, hold on, that's not a right one. V-Waggy. V-Waggy. Oh, they don't have that? Okay, there we go. Volkswagen AG. So let's go back in time. Let's go back all the way. This is 2019. Look how the price changes continuously. And it's always constant tug of war. It's not moving based on fundamentals. It used to be 10 and then it went to 50 in about a year. Right? Imagine knowing that this is the bottom and then 5 timesing, 4 timesing whatever you put in. But it's such a gamble. Though these sort of things don't really happen very well. They're not good to trade. So here's the case here. There it is, 2008. It went from, and this is just an estimate. This is like an average from a zoomed out perspective. It went from $3, $4 up to $61, right? But this whole process took about 3 years. But hey, why did it happen around the great financial crisis? Right? And then you look at OSTK. I think it was, oh no, they changed it. They changed it to, what's it, BBB? Bed Bath and Beyond. I think they merged. I think Bed Bath and Beyond merged. Yeah, that's some data that's lost forever now. That's the problem with data sets. They can change over time and companies can merge and then you lose that. VJ Malia? I don't know, man. I mean, they become bankrupt. They don't get arrested, that's for sure, right? That's the problem. We don't actually hold these people accountable for what they do. Uh, but that was okay. So Volkswagen, here's your GME back in 2022. And there's still talks about it actually happening continuously. Oh, 21. Look at that. This guy went from $1 to 121. This was a particular case. I mean, Volkswagen's backup, I can't say exactly, but you can consider that basically they bought their shares, all their shares. They were confident in their company and they bought all their shares. Maybe in a way to Amalia, I don't know. They do become Amalia basically bankrupt. But yeah, that's insane, right? Going from like $1.50 to 120. And this was kind of like the estimation again. If I drop down to the daily, this was 120 something. And then if I go down to the 5 minute, it'll probably, I think it went like, I remember going through that day. I wasn't in GME, but I was in AMC, which experienced a very similar volatility at that time period. And I got in at, I think, $14 somewhere around, well, they actually split it multiple times. I can tell you just by where I was watching. I got in here. This used to be $14 until they did a split, and then I sold off somewhere around like here. So I did like basically 5 times. I went from 14K to 50K. Then I decided to be stupid and I put half of it back in, so I lost half of it. So I kind of left with some. It was pretty decent actually. But these kind of situations tend to happen regularly on the market, and it does have to do with the fail to delivers. So there's the full detail of the market situation that's behind this. Now, my goal is going back to programming, back to our data sets here, is to take this, organize it, sort it down here, and depending on how much time I have, what time is it? I think I'll do another 30 minutes, hour before I leave because I gotta prepare. I gotta go help my grandma out at the farm, hang out with her for a bit. Spend as much time with the oldies before, they leave the planet. Always, family first, guys. Family first. Well, first you have to find some data sets. You have to understand which ones are potential ones that have the highest fails to deliver. And then you watch the actual market, find a bottom, find a place that they never go under. Let's say if it's 14 bucks and they go underneath 14 bucks multiple times, or if they don't go underneath 14 bucks, there's a support there. Someone's buying it up at 14. But you have to give it a long-term analysis. You can't just look at it one day and think and know for sure what's happening. Um, you have to kind of keep track of a specific set. So the first thing is to identify which ones. This is what I'm trying to do here with this sorting file. And then the second case is to have at least a set of high probability values, because now you're going into like trading and you got to think about probabilities and potentials and what the chances are, your risk reward percentages. So at least by finding these top maybe 5 or 10, I can now pit them against each other. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's a bit more, of course, than just programming, but this is the first set. This is just identifying those particular ones. What I like to do is always chase volume. Whenever I start looking at certain companies that have certain patterns like this, then I'll start organizing the volume and try to see if it's increasing or decreasing. And with the increase, is the price going up or down? So those are the kind of key points you're looking for. But it's a lot of more stocky, talky stuff. Anyway, back to this. So in this case, I should be pretty decent. Let me see if I print out the... I'm sending in a array. So let me print this out, see if I got the correct one. This is just debugging process. I know it's a little bit tedious, but you got to make sure that all the code you just modified still works flawlessly. Yeah, like any investment. I mean, in this case, it wouldn't be like a long-term investment. It would be more like trading, like a short-term trade if you identify something. But, long-term investments are normally more stable. They don't play around with these kind of volatile situations. But even then, the 68 or the 60-40 portfolio where 60% equity and 40% bonds, where it's been always the go-to split for safety, that's falling apart and that's not working as much as it used to. So there's a couple of old stable strategies that aren't working anymore because the market is changing. Alright, so now I list them. Good, dictionary keys, nice. And then let's sort. Oh, wait a minute. Oh. What? I guess I put... Am I doing this wrong? Oh, I think it's a comma in frickin', this is bad. It's a comma in Python. Not a plus. Plus is JavaScript. And I think PHP. But plus would be the confusing factor. For addition, I suppose. Let's do it backwards. This one's the comma. I might want to automate this process first. At some point, just kind of put these two as the default files I'm analyzing so I don't have to keep importing them over and over. That would be a good idea. Okay, listed, sort. Okay, good. 0 and 1. So let's say we want to sort 1, but there's no actual sorting algorithm in there. File choice. List must be integer or slice. So I'm actually inputting. Okay, there we go. So I am actually file choice uh, int. I gotta make sure it's an integer when I use it because the input takes in a string. So we have to convert it to an integer so it works with the array itself. So that should be enough. That should basically do what I needed to do. Now we can work on the sort. So, okay, what I can do is I do have some printouts here. Can give our Grok a little sample here. In a data set array like this, create a sorting algorithm to choose which header to sort, and maybe I can tell it specifically numerical values because we're looking for numbers specifically. For numerical values and sorting them based on choices ascending or descending. Wait, did I say Python? Okay, good. It is doing Python. So I used Grok here because it's a very more generic sort of request. So it's giving me a is numerical, find, detect numerical headers. I don't like that. First row. This is actually going through each one to detect numerous sort database, dataset. So dataset, header, index, ascending. So I can kind of skip some of these and just use this one. If I know my dataset, then I can just choose which header to sort. How would you learn before entering into the market? Well, I'm sure you'll find plenty of videos of stock bros and crypto bros online. But I would lean away from any tools that someone's trying to sell you. Oh, I have an indicator that shows you when to buy and when to sell. Those kind of stuff, it's crap. It can work 50-50 most of the time. But what you're looking for is a solid understanding of how fundamentals affect the market and a couple of bits of pieces of bias. It's a very psychological game, so you can't do what the news tells you. Because when I started first, I bought when COVID happened. I bought Moderna and all of these Pfizers, and it's like, oh wow, it's gonna go crazy. But by the time I bought it, it was in the news, and the news kind of gave me the idea to buy it. But at that time, the price already went up, and then it went down, and then I lost a couple of thousand. So what they say is, buy the rumors, sell the news. So I bought at the news, so that's it. I bought when everyone was selling. So the news is kind of your, like when something becomes popular, more than likely it's time to sell it. So what you have to do is find the unpopular things, finding data sets, learning the fundamentals of a company. If you're looking for long term, you're looking for extreme fundamentals. Does the company make money? Do they have a good plan? That's why you can't really analyze every single company on the market. I mean, we're looking at 50,000 sets of data just in this one file, right? And these are failed to delivers. So you can't just say I'm going to analyze every one of these and be able to. You can't even make an algorithm to do that because you would have to go into the company's strategy. You'd have to understand what is their product, where are they selling it, is it global, is it local, how many workers do they have, What's the amount of money they're paying out for the income, like um, the cost of revenue, basically. You kind of have to know economics as a whole and how a healthy company looks like. So you would use references like Apple, Microsoft, um, Amazon to understand what a healthy company looks like. And even smaller versions, because those are extreme. Those are your top big boys. So you would look at something like Chipotle. That's a pretty decent company and it's grown well. Um, Anything with a long-term record of stability, you would analyze them, their fundamentals, their financials, and say, all right, this is a good standard way a company should work. This is how much they spend to make revenue. This is how much they spend on research and development, percentage-wise, of how much they make. And this is how much they grow year per year. And this is how much they increase in price in the stock year by year. So you're looking at those fundamentals. Now you can help yourself with technicals, because when we're doing technicals on a chart like I showed you earlier, they do also work, but they're very psychological. All those lines and all those things, you got to remember people were looking at those lines. So reality is that numbers are psychological. You see the 420, the price goes to 420, more than likely it's going to start selling off because people want to say, oh shit, I sold this at 420. Like, like there's a psychological aspect to technical. So you want to balance your fundamental understanding of the market with the psychological understanding of the human patterns and all the numbers that we all like to see: 69, 420, 777, 333, 666, 999. Fives are specific, whole numbers are nice. We don't like decimals. Maybe if we do like decimals, it's like 25 cents or 50 cents. All those kind of individual pieces start to play a part. So fundamental knowledge of the actual place you're trying to trade, psychological understanding of the trends of that market, of that stock. And then the third thing at the very end is, yeah, maybe you can try and find some information based on news that potentially no one has heard yet. The smallest pieces, not the headlines, but the smaller pieces. So you would actually go into a company's website, you'd go over kind of their latest movements, their latest moves, what they're doing, what they're making, what their future potential things are. So you would go to a company's website for their news. You wouldn't just wait for a headline to pop up, because by the time the headline pops up, it's already too late, right? Yeah, in a case like that, right. You can't really predict, because like Apple was a very interesting situation where Apple itself didn't really do a lot of advertising as much as like other companies did, but they did, they did their um but they didn't used to until iPhone and stuff, until I think Tim Cook took over. Wait. God, which one? What was the order of things? Was Tim Cook before? What was the guy before? Steve Jobs, duh. Steve Jobs didn't do a lot of advertising. Tim Cook started doing more advertising. But Apple grew nonetheless, and Apple is specific because they didn't have to spend a lot of money on marketing, and they grew to through word of mouth, just people liking their product. So sometimes you can't even look at marketing expenses and say, oh, they're putting a lot of money on marketing, they might be growing. Sometimes it's completely backwards. Sometimes they're putting a lot of money in marketing because they want to grow, but no one's buying their product. So they kind of go through the process of like, maybe if people see our product a lot, more people will buy it. So they spend a lot of money. Right, their iconic launches. I mean, they had their 1984 type commercial. Like they had some very interesting artistic expressions with Steve Jobs, but then later when the iPhone came out, they were just going at, well, it wasn't even them marketing it, right? You see AT&T, Verizon, all of them saying they have an iPhone. So everyone's like, oh my God, there's your advertisement, but it's Verizon advertising the iPhone for iPhone, or for iPhone. F1? What's F1? KSF1. Make sure to leave a like, guys, if you haven't already. Would really appreciate the support. Trying to get this little channel to grow. Oh, Formula One? No, no. I'm thinking like the F1 key on my keyboard, bro. I'm too nerdy for this shit. No, I don't. I mean, I grew up in United States, so the most I was watching was like NASCAR and stuff, but even then it'd be like when I saw it on TV. It wouldn't even be that crazy. uh, but in NASCAR, all they do is turn right. No, they turn, yeah, they turn right. Oh my God, they're making a right turn. Clear this, look, they're making another right turn. Oh, they're making a right turn. Some shit like that, man. But no, I don't watch too much racing. I did work on my car, like the car racing competition. Yeah, I'm a very interesting specimen. I like sports, but I like to play sports. I hate watching sports. I like cars. I like to work on cars, but I hate watching cars race, right? It's watching things in front of my face isn't as interesting as me being involved in it. I've always been an on-hands person. With my last Ford Focus, I took apart the doors and I upgraded the speakers. I was more of the electrical kind of guy. I never like I wasn't gonna do anything with the engine. But I'm that kind of like hands-on person where I would rather be involved with that particular subject than watch it from the sidelines. So when I had the car, oh, fair, fair enough, fair enough. Uh, so yeah, I like to work on things in the case of like experimenting with that car, opening up the doors. I did break some pieces here and there because you know it's the first time I've ever opened the car door, but I was able to replace and upgrade my speakers in the car. And that was a really satisfying feeling. It's the same feeling like when I used to use Linux as a kid and I would just like change the code to make it look different. To me, it meant a lot because like, holy crap, I just modified the way my Linux uses to customize my wants, my feels, right? But others are like, it just looks like another computer. What does it matter? So it's like, yeah, I know, I know. I like to customize and modify things to my liking. Um, Let me see. So we got the file choice, sorting. I might end it soon. I think I'm burning out on the case of thinking about the sorting process, but let me try something. We got the sorting process here. So we got a data set. If not numerical header, no numerical headers found. That's the interesting part. How would it find? Need header and at least one data row. Right, okay. So it's basically taking a data row to measure and see if the header is numerical or not, and then storing that into the numerical headers list. So we can basically use that for later. That's fair enough. So we got a data set here. It understands that numerical there. If not numerical, no numerical headers found. Honestly, that would be useful if I was blindly putting in files, so I don't think I care about that. I don't care if I'm not going to be blindly putting in files. I'm going to be looking at the file, seeing what rows I may need. But then again, it'll be useful to identify this with large files, with a lot of columns. So I'll keep that in the back burner. But I do truly need get the user input for header and sorting. Enter the number of the header to sort by. So really it's this case that's important. Header index, which is coming from the numerical header user choice. Ascending order case is getting from sort ascend descend. So it's just the ASE or DESC and then the data set itself. So then we need this function. Again, I mean, these are just precautions you would normally do. If your data set's less than a certain amount of sets, that makes sense. But let's keep it Straightforward. Get key, return float header, key of row. Hold on. Why are we making a function inside of a function? I don't think that works. You know what? Sorted. Reverse not. Get key. Data rows. I'm just looking for a function that sorts things. I'm pretty sure Python has this default. Thank you, bro. Thank you. Enjoy yourself. Stay lively, stay cool, stay chill, and of course, don't let life bring you down. Always keep your head up. Thanks for joining. I'll see you around next time. This isn't much appreciated. Much appreciated. I'll see you around, my man, whenever you come by again. I have plenty of things, computer building simulations, hacking simulations, all kinds of stuff. Today is just data analysis because I'm really like bent on getting this at least started. It's gonna take a while. Oh, so there is a case for just sorting a sorted function. Let me check my local. Sort. Dimensional array based on column ascending or descending format. So it is a sorted function. Okay, good. So sorted is an existing function that I can use, verified by my local AI. Cool, cool. So we got an array sorted r lambda x or x to the first. So that's going to take the first index 4, 5, 6. X0 would be the first 1, 2, 3. Actually, hold on. One. Oh, wait, hold on. Whoa, whoa, whoa. 1, 2, 2, 5, 3, 6. To sort array in descending order instead of ascending order, function reverse true. You can use two-dimensional array ascending order based on the values in the second column. Okay, so this case is the second column. So x1 is the second column variable. x1, x1. Is it an x1 format? Do I do that? I mean, if that's simple, then let's do it this way. Sorted, return, sorted. I didn't think I'd have to go too crazy into the sort array key lambda. This example, we sorted two-dimensional array using the key parameter of the sorted key that will be called for each item in the array to determine the sorting key. In this case, we use the lambda expression. Oh, right, that's a small function. Lambda is a small mini function inside. I forget that that's something that Python does. So key is equal to the function lambda unknown or unnamed function, where x is the x first value of the array. Okay, that's fair. JavaScript does something similar to this, but they have a shortcut where it's like parenthesis and then arrow and then bracket, like a super short based functions. Forget that Python has this lambda short function. That should be enough, but then again, print sort array, and then how about print sort array 0, so we can just get the header, and then sort call input which column to sort by. And the case here would be if I put 1, we actually start at 0. So I'll take this as an integer. And then subtract by 1, thinking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 instead of 0. Thinking in user terms, but you know what? Forget it. I'm a programmer. I don't need to think in user terms. I'll use 0 if I need to. And then I'll take sort column, throw it in the X value here. Okay. So let's see what we got so far. So import file, file text delimiter dios, import file. This delimiter comma, sort file. We want to sort the first one. Maybe there's an issue with me using the int there. So maybe I'll use int over here. Maybe I can't use int within that space. I do have to quit though. Gotta reset the program. So if I list, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Hold on, what? Oh, I'm retarded. Sometimes I be like that. I think I'm burning out, that's why I'm being retarded. Nope, what I want to do, I want to do another file. I'm burning out. Hella burned out. Okay, so now we list. We have 2 files. We want to sort them. We want to sort 0. That's a weird one. File, data and line 34. So we're running this line sort data, sort column. The input is not subscribable. Subscriptable. Oh, let's get Grok to do this for me because my brain's fried. Having issue running input from a separate function. Oh, yeah, dude. I didn't even see the fucking brackets. Thanks, Grok. You're the best. Probably saved me like 5 hours of figuring out why it doesn't work just because it's brackets and not stupid parentheses. This was a comma, 4 sort 2 0. Okay, so now we can choose which column. 0, 1, 2, 3, 3. Okay. Herp. I returned it. Herp. And I did nothing with it. I didn't even print it out. Oh my god. Alright, once I do this sort, I'm done. I need to go relax. Play some games or something. Mindless shooting games. So import file once more. Get my delimiter bar. Import again. Delimiter comma. 4. I have 2 of them. 2 sort at a 0 file by the third 0. 1, 2, 3 quantity of fails. Okay, sure. This one has 1,082. This one has 1,168. Okay, then it has 2,000. And then it has, but then it has 200. What? Something's off. All right. Well, that's the next step, is to sort that. And I have to maybe improve some things, like potentially load these files automatically. Maybe make some functions to organize my file input values, so I can make a load function or a manual user in function based on loading files generally. So there's some things I can improve here, but this is a good start. Oh, that's all I wanted to do. Thanks for joining. I'm burnt out for a little bit. I'll probably take a couple hours break, but I'm going to be going to my grandma's later. So you probably won't hear from me for the next couple of days. I might chime in here and there. If you want to reach me, you can always just message on YouTube. You can always message on the Twitch too. Like, I'm responding, maybe not live, but I do have it open to be viewed if I see anybody message when I'm off stream, because my OBS kind of has everything in one command center space, including the chat. Other than that, check out the Discord. Check out my Patreon. There's a lot of ways to talk and communicate and chit chat and talk about all kinds of these thingy-mabobbers. Anyway, I can't even speak anymore. Thanks for joining. Appreciate you here. Namaste to everyone. I will see you next time.